Hi there. Today we're going to talk about radioactivity with special focus on its random and instantaneous nature, half-life, and activity. First, we look at the random nature of radioactive decay. Radioactive decay is like a continuous lucky draw. Each second, approximately a certain proportion of the radioactive nuclei, which we call mother nuclei, are expected to decay into their daughter nuclei and emit some kind of radiation like alpha, beta, or gamma. This process is random, meaning that we cannot predict which nuclei will decay at this moment and which at the next moment. It's a bit like dying in a population, provided that the sample size is large enough. You cannot predict who, but roughly the same number of people will die each day. Next, we talk about the spontaneous nature of radioactive decay. The decay will happen in its own time. It's like no one will know when he's going to die. We cannot make it happen or prevent it from happening. Moreover, it's not affected by chemical means such as presence of other elements or catalysts, nor physical means such as temperature, pressure, or density. Now we talk about half-life. It's a time taken for half of the radioactive nuclei to decay. It depends on the probability of decay, which is the proportion of decay per unit time. For example, if it's 0.5 per year, then the half-life is 1 year, because according to this probability, half of the sample will have decayed after 1 year. And half of the remaining half will have decayed after another 1 year. This process will go on until very few of the radioactive sample left. Different isotopes have different half-lives, ranging from fractions of a second to billions of years. Now we define the activity of a radioactive decay. It's the rate of radioactive nuclei decay or disintegration, usually measured in number of decays per second. The unit is in becquerel. So the activity of 1 decay per second corresponds to 1 becquerel. The SI unit is simply per second. The activity of a sample depends on the number of radioactive nuclei present in the sample and the half-life of the isotope. It's obvious that larger sample size will give a higher activity. On the contrary, a longer half-life, meaning a slower decay, will give a lower activity. Finally, it should be noted that the count rate measured by a GM tube and counter for sample is much lower than the actual activity, because only a small part of the radiation emitted from the decay is in the direction of the GM tube, and found that not all are able to check it account. Now it's time for your practice. You can pause the video and try the question yourself. Afterwards, you can resume the video and check the answer yourself. Last, we talk about decay constant. Consider a sample having n radioactive nuclei at the beginning. After a short time interval delta t, some of the nuclei would have decayed, let's say delta n. Recalling the definition of activity, which is the number of decay per unit time, we have activity equals delta n over delta t. As we have already mentioned, activity is proportional to the sample size, and so we have delta n divided by delta t proportional to n, and hence delta n over delta t equals lambda n. where lambda is a proportionality constant. Therefore, now we can say that activity A equals delta n. If we make the decay constant lambda the subject, it equals A over n. That's the activity divided by the sample size. That's also the probability of decay per unit time. This is the end of this lecture. Now it's time for your practice again. Please pause the video and try the questions here. Afterwards, you can resume the video to check the answers. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you enjoy it. If you like it, please like and share it. Thank you.